a video on me faffing about with some carrots. So I made something the other day, and I left. I didn't peel the carrots, and they tasted a lot nicer than carrots that were peeled and chopped. I left them. I left them chunky, so I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of quite interesting because I always leave my carrots a little bit bigger than most people would. So I like carrots like that. They keep more flavour, and I think they're more interesting than just discs of carrots or batons of carrots. I think that's all a bit boring. Although it was probably college that and working in hotels that just kind of smashed all the joy out of chopping carrots. Not that there is any joy in chopping carrots, but it just I was fed up. I mean, like batoning carrots for 70 people is just boring. And especially back in the day when there wasn't any music or any podcasts to listen to in a kitchen. Although you're not really supposed to listen to music or podcasts in a kitchen because it's a dangerous place. And you don't want kind of like even more distractions to burn yourself. So I'm going around in circles, aren't I? So I kind of thought, well, that's kind of quite interesting. If we leave the skin on, is the more kind of flavour. And then I was thinking about, I worked in a really posh restaurant down in Oxford, and they used to have baby carrots, tiny little baby carrots, with on some of the dishes. And they didn't peel the carrots. What they did was they cooked them whole and with the skins on, and then when they were cooked, they rubbed the skins off because the tiny little carrots, and to peel them, there was kind of nothing left after they kind of like done it. So my thoughts are, we're going to do a bit of experiment. We are going to peel some carrots, keep them chunky, like that. We're going to peel a carrot, leave it whole. We're going to leave a carrot whole, just top it and tail it, and cook it like that. And then we're going to, another carrot, we will leave the skin on, like this. Now, my customers are not going to allow me to leave the skin on carrots. They think I'm lazy enough as it is, leaving carrots like that size. But it's not laziness, it's flavour in my eyes. So yes. So and then we're going to use those as well. Yes, because I want some soup later on in the week. So we'll leave these. We'll cook these as well. If we're cooking a few carrots, we might as well cook a few more. Is it just 4 different types of carrots I want to do? Peeled, and chopped, and then chopped and unpeeled, and left whole and peeled, left whole and not peeled. Yeah, so that's right. So we will take the ends off. You can, I mean, obviously, I've washed them, but does leaving the skins on make a huge amount of difference? So, water, bring up to the boil, cook until tender. I'm not a fan of al dente. Some people are, I'm not, because I think they taste different. So if you have green beans in France, they cook them so they're soft all the way through and they taste delicious. Some vegetables, if you leave them al dente, I just think it's the squeaky, like squeaky vegetables. I don't want to eat squeaky vegetables. The al dente and raw vegetables are fine in some things, but I like vegetables that are cooked through. Just a personal preference. And ideally, I'd like to put some ham stock in there to cook those carrots, but I haven't got any. And also, I want to see. I'm not even going to put salt in. I'm just going to bring them up to boil in plain water and kind of see what happens, because even the salt will affect the kind of flavour. So, no salt, no ham stock, no chicken stock, no nothing like that. Just water, and we'll see how it turns out. Right. So they're cooked and they have cooled. So, if my theory is right, is this camera straight? Yeah, the camera's straight. That should be tasty, the one that's peeled and cut, but it should be the least tasty of them all. So, how's that taste? Very nice. We do a bit of salt. So, how's the one with the skin still on? Skin, peel, unpeeled. Got a slight earthy flavour to it, and that's down to the peel. And then, oh yeah, so they used to rub the skins off when they were still hot. So can we do that? Yeah, we can. We can rub the skin off. So that's kind of quite interesting. I mean, that's a bit of a faffy way around it, but if you were in a fancy high-end restaurant, cooking the carrots and then rubbing the skin off is kind of the stuff one of my old bosses used to have us doing, but it's a bit of a faff. It's a bit of a faff, is that. But you can rub the skin off. It takes a bit of work. I don't think we really kind of live in that world anymore. It was quite turning vegetables and all that kind of stuff was very much going out of fashion when I was first started being a chef, you know. And we've certainly moved on to more casual dining, better food, in all honesty, but more casual dining. So, how does it taste? Peeled, but left whole. Better flavour. Better flavour than that. And then, how does this peeled but left whole flavour taste? The same as that. So, I don't really know why they tasted that much better, the unpeeled ones. Or maybe it was just if I had put some peeled ones in and done a taste test of the dish that I was actually doing, there would have been a difference. But there's not that much difference. But the bigger you leave vegetables, root vegetables, the more flavour you keep, and you don't lose that goes into the water. So as you can see, the water has got a slight orange tinge to it. How can we show this better? And bring that across. Cocktail glass, that'll do. So we should be able to see that's got a bit of a pinky tinge, a bit of an orangey tinge pink, bit of an orange tinge to it, if you can just see around the outside. But anyway, so leaving the skin, leaving the peel, unpeeling the carrots doesn't make that much of a difference, but the bigger you leave them, the more flavour they keep. Yeah. If you want maximum flavour, leave them whole like that, and then chop them. So leave them whole, and then just before you serve them, cut them like that. Serve them. A bit of a faff for 100 people. Like, you certainly wouldn't do that. You would actually in a really good restaurant. That's exactly what you'd do. But you know, and if people are charging. But if you want to, that's what I'd do. If I wanted carrots to taste absolutely amazing, that's what I'd do. I'd cook them whole, and then I'd cut them up, and then I'd just put them on the table like that, and people would taste them, and they would go, "Oh my God, those carrots are amazing! How on earth do you get them to taste like that?" And you just kind of go, "Oh, well, you know, I just left them whole, left them big, and just kind of cooked them," and people wouldn't have a clue. And then just toss them in a little bit of butter last minute, and then serve them on the table, and people would think you were wonderful for the amazing way that your carrots taste. Or if I worked in a really fancy restaurant again, that's what I'd do. I'd leave them as big as possible. There was sadly passed away, a chef called Nico, and I once saw one of his dishes, and I'm sure it was a braised shin of beef, and he dotted around these big chunky carrots around it, and we all couldn't believe it when we saw this book, when we bought this book, when we were all, with the chefs that I was working with, and just like, that's a crazy idea, leaving carrots like that, because we were used to, you know, kind of turning carrots. So like a turned carrot is that, but what you do is you shape them into barrels, so like that. So the idea of turning them is supposed to have 8 sides as well, so you just take off all the outsides, and they look really fancy, but it's a bit of it's labour intensive. And I don't know if Nico's thinking was that he would just leave the carrots, like the turned carrots taste nicer, not because they're turned, but because they're left larger. So maybe he kind of saw that and he just kind of thought to himself, we'll just serve them bigger, you know, just cut them into cubes, cut them into squares, you know, leave them bigger and get the flavour and not have to faff around turning them into barrel shapes. But anyway, interesting. But there we go. So I suppose I really should do another video on making the best carrots ever, shouldn't I? Probably. At some point in the future I will. But I've always got far too many videos to make. Anyway, success and delicious.